Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. Alright, as promised, today we are going to meet the projects. We're going to start with my personal favorite. This is my 1981 Toyota short bed four-wheel drive pickup. I've had this truck about 9 years, coming up this January. I took this on a trade for an 84 Land Cruiser I had. As if you watched the initial video on the channel, you know that I had a deer run out in front of me, hit a ditch, rolled this truck over. This truck had been rolled once previously. Top's a little mangled now to be able to really tell it, but you can look and see where some of the sheet metal had some pre-existing damage. That was from a previous rollover. They came out of that one a whole lot better than it did this one. This truck does still run. I have the battery out of it, so I'm not going to fire it up or anything like that. This one will be getting cab swapped. Of course, the venerable 22R. This one has Weber 3236. You can actually see that this thing actually caught a small engine fire on me while I was laying upside down. I was able to put that out in pretty short order before it got out of control and did any real damage. So I'm blessed and fortunate for that. Over here is our donor cab. This is a 83. This was a two-wheel drive truck. This was an RN44, which of course denotes that this was a short bed two-wheel drive. So as you can see, I got it with no engine. What you see is what I got, except for it did have the fenders and all that. You probably saw those pictures in the first videos, grill. All that's already been stripped. Getting this thing ready. I still have to finish removing the last of this interior, gutting these doors out, because the plan is to media blast this body and go back with the original the Toyota paint coat on that one, which I believe is 489 or 589, which was beige. As you can tell, the four-wheel drive's probably been repainted about 100 times in its life. So, got a lot of work there. The bed, I'm actually just looking to see if we can find a fairly solid replacement for it. Mainly because of this lip up here. This is a double-walled lip. This is actually kind of difficult to fab and make work, but it can be done. If I have to go that route, then that's the way we'll go. This cab, we will be covering some metal work. Now again, this is not, nothing on this channel is going to happen overnight. This is not something that, you know, you're going to be getting fab videos next week or anything like that on there. Again, the whole point behind this channel is for you do-it-yourself guys that just have a project, love these old cars and trucks, and want to do them, to be able to do this on your own. But some of the fabrication we will be doing is, this truck still had its original Toyota glass in it from '83, so of course the seals rotted in it, which of course ate this section of dash panel out, which is not a problem because we have a good dash panel in our other truck. But it did eat the windshield channel. So one thing we will be covering is how to fabricate and put in windshield channel. There was also this area here in the floor pan. Best I can tell, the rest of the pan's pretty good. I'll know more when I get in here and scrape the sound deadener and all out of it. We'll go over that in other videos as well. This is you guys are pretty much going to go step by step with me on dismantling the rest of this, dismantling this truck. Another thing I should point out is, of course, the two-wheel drive shift hole, I don't know if you can see that too good, is substantially smaller because you're not accommodating a transfer case. So we will have to enlarge that hole and probably actually square it a little bit. Another thing too on these is, if you look here, your steering gear on these trucks drops down with almost And I don't know how good of a shot I'll be able to get of this with kind of a conventional pitman arm here, kind of like you'd see on any other American truck. The box bolts to the side of the frame, which of course allows for your front cab mounts to be placed right here. Four-wheel drive is a little different. If you look here, you can see the steering gear bolts on ears on the top of the frame, protrudes out, and then has a pitman arm that comes down and moves the drag link back and forth on your knuckle. So another thing we'll have to do is we'll have to cut a relief in our inner fender. And I'm going to try to roll this lip and show you guys kind of how to do that, just to make it look neat. Nobody likes a sloppy job. And also we will be relocating these forward cab mounts, because as I showed you, ones over there are located behind the core support. Four-wheel drive has them in the front of the core support. So we'll be relocating those, which is going to involve a little bit of cutting and welding and whatnot, because we're going to actually drill the spot welds off of these, and we're going to use these mounts because we know that they will transfer over and they'll land approximately correct on this frame. So that being said, that's some of the stuff we're going to get into. There's some other things I have kind of on the books for this truck, just depending on how the budget allows. Now, I want to talk about something for just a second when we talk about building on a budget. There is a difference between being cheap and being on a budget. Being on a budget infers that the job is going to be done correctly. It's going to be done to a somewhat standard. It's not going to be just a hack job. It's not going to be just thrown together. It's not going to be just throw the absolute cheapest junk you can put on them. This is doing it appropriately, doing this kind of within your means. If you have to save a little to buy a certain tool or piece of equipment or a certain part that maybe just a little bit better or more substantial quality, then you do that. You turn around, you save a little bit, and you do that. Don't rush through these, guys. These cars and trucks have been on the road 30, 40, 50 years. And they've survived this long. Don't hurt yourself, and don't do your vehicle a disservice by turning around and totally cheaping out. Again, difference between budgeting and being cheap. So that's all I'm going to say there. So yeah, we'll introduce the Celica in a separate video, because I know some folks are going to be following the truck probably closer than the Celica. There are going to be other people that follow the Celica closer than the truck. We're going to do some other videos on these two, and we're going to do some that will cross between the two, like something I'm going to go over, because I know we're going to have some first timers on this channel, just some people that need some. And for you guys that are seasoned out there, forgive me if I'm droning or if I sound like I'm breaking this down, as we used to call it in the Army, Barney style. But I do expect some new people on this channel that this may be their first project. This may be something that they pulled an old truck out of the woods. They had an old car given to them by their parents or grandparents that set out in a field or out in a barn because they just thought it was cool looking, and they're interested in seeing what this is about. So I'm doing a lot of this for them. So there are probably going to be videos that I do that fascinate a lot of you guys that have been in this a while. There are going to be videos that I do that are probably going to bore you to tears. I'm not going to lie to you. But I hope you follow along for it all, because there might be some good information in here for you seasoned guys as well. Little tips, tricks, maybe you didn't know. And again, it's like I stated in my initial video, that's what this channel's about. This is just as much about sharing this project with y'all and passing on my knowledge of how to do some of this stuff and how to take one of these from being a totaled out mess to a running, driving vehicle again. So tune in. Like I said, I'll be doing a separate video on the Celica, and then we'll get into some other stuff. Appreciate it, and look forward to having, and I look forward to you guys partaking in this with me.